Welcome everybody back to the channel. This is 2530 Media, and of course, I am Aaron Reed. If you're new here, don't be a stranger. Go ahead and find that subscribe button and click it once. Also, go find the like button and click that one again too, so you can be up to date when I drop these videos, which I try to release maybe once a week. So today we're going to finish our conversation on the Penstar eNote. So as you guys know, I've been using the Penstar eNote as my daily driver for the past 2 weeks, and we've already covered the Notes app, the Calendar app, and the overall navigation of the tablet, and we looked at some of the hardware specs as well. Today we're going to cover the native reading app, which Penstar calls the bookshelf. So now let's take a look at the bookshelf. So now let's check out the bookshelf, which is the reading app that is native to the Penstar eNote. So now you'll see, similar to the Notes app, we have a couple of different categories in which you can organize your information. So we'll start from here, which is recents. If you're on the recents, it's going to pull up those recent files. So the next thing we have is books. Now, once you're under books, this is a way where you can create a file structure to organize your information. So if you look here, we have an excerpt that I created. We'll talk about that later. But I have a folder here for the book project, which would be the book that I am writing, that I move my EPUBs over for review, edit, things like that. I have a folder here for my work files. So these are going to be all the PDF documents that I use at work when I need to annotate, when I need to view some information, and I'm just doing some work, working on a task. Here I have a journal. Now this is going to be a linkable PDF journal that I purchased from Dave over at Tablet Tech. He makes some great journals, so we're going to check into that in a minute. And here's going to be my Wi-Fi transfer folder. Now this is the folder that when I move EPUBs or PDFs over via the Wi-Fi transfer, it made its own folder, and that's where I store that there until I want to move it to one of these other file structures that I have. This next tab will be bookmarks. So if you're in a book and you bookmark a page, this is where that'll show up. I'll show you guys that in a minute. And of course, we have excerpts. I like the Penstar eNote because they have a function. If you're working within a PDF or an EPUB, you can pull excerpts and take some notes, and I'll show you guys that also. So the first thing we're going to do is hop into one of these PDF journals with links, and I'll show you guys how the Penstar eNote platform handles those files. So here we're inside one of Dave from Tablet Tech's PDF journals that he creates. You can go to his YouTube page and you can find a link where you can purchase one of his planners or journals. And I like his journal system because it's pretty useful, especially if you are one of the people who likes to use a PDF journal with links. So this is going to be one of the first pages. It has a table of contents. So I'll show you guys how this works. First, we're just going to name this journal. Now that we've named our journal, we're going to go down here and we are going to start one of our tablets. So now that we've hopped into the first tablet, we're going to select that tablet and it's going to take it to us. So now that we've named our first tablet, now we have our notes. So if I wanted to give this a first note tablet journal a name, I could. Now that I've selected that, I'm in that first note or notebook. And from there, I can take as many notes as I want to. And from here, once I fill this page up, I can go to the next. And when I want to jump back home, all I have to do is hit this home button. And that takes me to the table of contents of this first notebook that gives me at least 30 notebooks. So the next thing we're going to look at is going to be the journaling system on this linkable PDF. So I'll go down here. Now I'm going to select my journal. So now I have selected my 365-day journal. And if you see here, we have all 12 months. And what I like about this journal is you have all 12 months and it's categorized by day once you get to the month, but it's not specific to any year. So you can use this year after year after year without having to purchase a new one, unless you want to purchase one of Dave's redesigned templates. So now we're going to hop into November. Now you see we're in November. You see how good these links are working. We're going to go to the 4th. Now we're on November 4th. So this is where you'll be able to write down any information, whether if it's journaling, you want to write some to-do, some quick notes, whatever it is that you want to use this for, you can do that here in this space for November 4th. And you can keep going throughout the month. You can also jump around to previous months. And of course, when you're through with that, you can go back home. There's also to-dos that are included in this 365-day journal. and this is your to-do screen. Once you select one, you can name the title and you can list your to-dos, your due date you want them to be done by. So any information there. You can also title those to-dos. Looks like you have 30 spaces for those to-dos for 30 days. And as far as the Penstar eNote being able to handle the links pretty well, it does a good job at navigating through the links. The next thing that we're going to look at is going to be an EPUB. So we'll hop into the cover page of this EPUB. As you guys see, it says 2530 Media because it's a project that I'm working on. And you can use your two page turn buttons here. One is going to be back, one is going to be forward to easily navigate through your EPUB, or the pen swipe to navigate through when you don't have your writing tool selected. Now that I have my writing tool selected, I can easily jump to my menu here and I can see a table of contents. If I had a table of contents with this EPUB, I only have a chapter of information here. That's why there's no contents. This is going to be where you'll see your bookmarks. This is going to be where you have any annotations you've made. And of course, this is going to be where you've made any notes. So if you've highlighted anything, underlined anything, that's where this is going to show up. So I'll show you guys a couple of features right quick. So the first thing that we're going to look at is if I want to do some annotating. So once I've selected it, I can highlight. From there, I get a couple of different options. I get the option to copy. I get the option to make a note. I can underline. I can make an excerpt. I can use the dictionary, and I can do some Wikipedia lookups. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you guys how to bookmark. Now, on my smart buttons here, I have the reader menu button pulled up. So once I hit the reader menu button, now I have a couple of things I can do. First, I'm going to bookmark. Now I've bookmarked this page. So now if I want to go into my table of contents, I go to bookmarks. Now you see we have a page bookmarked. Also, from the contents page, I can go into split screen mode. Now that I'm in split screen mode, I have the full use of my notes app on the left. Now that we're in split screen mode, I have the full use of my notes app here on the right hand side to take notes that will be linked to our PDF. And you still have the full notes app tools to your disposal up here. You can switch templates, you can insert things, you can copy and paste from here to over here. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can do that within those notes. And once you're through with split screen, simply just back out of your note. Now we're back to our PDF. So now I want to do a little bit of annotating. So to do that, let's long press on a word. Now I have that word selected. I can select as much as I want. Now I can do a couple of things. We are going to create an excerpt. It's going to give us some information on that excerpt that we are creating. And now once we create it, we can hit save to save it and open it for later, or we can hit save and open. So we'll save that. Some of the other things that we can do, same process. This time I think I just want to make a highlight. So from this, we'll go to underline, and you have a couple of options at underline. You can change your underline color or your highlight color. We'll switch that to red, and now I have a red highlight. When I go to my reader menu again, now I go to contents. We have our bookmark. We don't have any annotations because we didn't write anything, but we do have a couple of notes because we made those highlights, and you can jump there. It's going to show you your highlights, anything you underlined, and if you added notes to that information. So this icon here is going to let us know that we have some notes there. You see test note. Once you select it, you can add to it. Also, once you go to your contents, and now you have your notes, you have more notes there. Now we're going to do a little bit of annotating. Once we're back at our main menu and we go to annotations, now the page in which we added some annotations is going to pop up. All we have to do is select it and we'll be on that page with those annotations that we made. The reader has some other functions as well as display, where you can change the format in which your information is displayed. You can also change the size. You can change the contrast. So you can pretty much customize your reading experience however you want to customize that experience with the Penstar eNote. So now that we're back at the home screen of the reader app, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is where those excerpts go after you create them. So once you click on excerpts, you'll see I have a couple of excerpts here that we have made. Now, one cool thing about the excerpts that I like is if you're making excerpts from the same reading material, once I select one, it's essentially going to bring up those excerpts that are associated with that piece of reading. And you can slide through those. So this was an excerpt that I made right here. This is a different excerpt that I made here. And then of course it goes into, so this is an excerpt that I made previously, and then I also have a different excerpt and another one, and it just keeps going until I've reached all the excerpts that I have made from that reading. Now, when you're on this page, you do have the option to also still do some annotating. You can't add a page to write on, but you still can annotate here with the space that's provided. However, you can go on a split screen and make a reading note, and you can write more information from those excerpts. All of your reader tools still work within the excerpts. So now let's look at where those excerpts go once you hit the Notes app. So once you hit the Notes app, you go into your reading notes. Once you go into your reading notes, this is where your excerpts or your split screens are going to be. So once we get into the reading notes portion, you'll see here the book project. This is when we use the split screen to take some notes for the book project. So once I select that, you'll see this would be the page from that split screen session we had with the book project. So any notes that I would have written from that book project split screen session would be here. The good thing about this is I still have the full tool set of my Notes app, but the bad thing is if I want to move this information somewhere else outside of my reading notes file structure, I can't. The only place I can move the reading notes within this file structure is within that reading notes section of the filing. Now, when you're searching for your notes by date, your reading notes still will pop up with the rest of your notes. However, like I said, if you want to move them around, create a new folder for those reading notes, you can't do it. But it will let you rename your reading notes. If you want to rename them, you can edit the cover as well. Whatever it is that you want to do, you just can't move those reading notes outside of the reading notes section. So that was a quick look at the native reading app for the Penstar eNote, which was the bookshelf. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments of what you think about the overall use case for the Penstar eNote. Do you guys think that this is a platform that you could use as a daily driver? Now, I am usually a user of the book's platform devices 10.3 and now the Note Air 4C, but I was pleasantly surprised when I got the Penstar eNote in my hands. I was a bit skeptical about the pen-only input, but once I got the tablet, start using it, I really enjoy the pen-only input with those control buttons that are on the left bezel. I think the Penstar eNote is a solid paper replacement for someone looking to get in e-ink or someone who's already been in e-ink and they just want a different type of experience, a different vibe. And that's what the Penstar eNote did for me. It kind of made me reevaluate or look at how I use e-ink as a paper replacement regarding to what tools I really need to get those tasks done. The Penstar eNote has a wonderful writing feel. It's not the best writing feel on the tablets that I own, but the Penstar eNote has a good writing feel. Has a great premium build when you look at the hardware of the device. The pen could be a little bit more premium, but all in all, I think it's a well put together, well designed device from hardware to UI and that overall experience. And I have no affiliation with Penstar. This is just someone who loves e-ink and wanted to get their hands on this tablet to see exactly what it can do. So when you look at the Penstar eNote, as of today, November 3rd, 2025, you can get the Penstar eNote 2 at a price point of $379.95. That's going to be through Amazon. With that, you're going to get a premium style device, half folio. You're going to get two styli with replacement nibs at a price point of $379. When you look at the hardware you're getting, plus the software that is on the Penstar eNote, the tools that it gives you, the things you can do for its organization, native reader, and even third-party apps, I think it's a great value for anybody who is looking to get into e-ink or someone who is already into e-ink and might be looking for another device for a specific use case, or they just are tired of what they're using and they want to pivot to a different platform. I think you're getting great value with the Penstar eNote, and when you measure the Penstar eNote with its value, what it can do up against some of the bigger names, I think it does more than hold its own. I think it holds its place in maybe that top 4, top 5 device list if you want to put that together. So let me know what you guys think in the comments of the Penstar eNote and some of the use cases that I show here. And let me know if you guys see any other use cases for the Penstar eNote, or if you think it's a good product or a product you can pass on. Thank you guys for checking out the channel, and until next time.